Sometimes your customers are wrong. It's sacrilegious. But it's true, sadly. No problem. There are ways to manage it. Starts with recognising, though, that sometimes your customers are wrong. I'm Andrew Laurie from BGB, and I'm just going to talk about today the different ways your customers might be wrong and some of the reasons for it. Because some of the reasons you can simply avoid the problem in the first place. Occasionally, you'll find that customers are wrong, and occasionally you'll find that customers that you don't want anyway. But let's begin by going back to why might they be wrong. At the most foundational level, there is a simple and common reason why many customers must be wrong. If we're being very true, if we're being honest about this, customers want three things from almost any product or service. They want it to be the best, the highest quality. They want it to be the cheapest, lowest price. And they want it to be the quickest. They want to get it immediately. Now, the reality is in any product or service, you can't have all three. You've got to sacrifice at least one. If you get the highest quality, the best there is, it's unlikely to be the cheapest. If you get the cheapest, it's unlikely to be the best. If you want the best service there is, it may not be the fastest or the cheapest. If you get the fastest, it may not be the best or the cheapest. It's impossible to have all three. People understand that. Some, though, still want it because at some level, that's what we want. So occasionally customers are just wrong because they want all those three things and it's not possible. Now, there are other reasons. I worked for Rosenbluth International once, and the founder, the owner, a guy called Hal Rosenbluth, he wrote a book called The Customer Comes Second. And his point was that actually you've got to start by looking after your team. His point was that sometimes the customer is wrong. His point was that sometimes there are customers you don't want. Those things are true. But he also is making the point that if you look after your team first, they'll look after your customers. The customer problems will be infrequent. Customer won't often be wrong. And I think that's true. I think investing in really looking after your team is at the heart of this. Equally though, when you hear a customer having a go, when you hear a customer berating a staff member, the person on the front desk, your sales person, your customer service officer, when you hear the customer berating them, be cautious before just jumping on board the customer's side. By looking after and defending your team member, you'll build a culture where you do look after each other. You'll build a culture of teamwork. You'll build a culture of support. And that in the end will pay off enormously. By the way, often it's actually a team member who's right and the customer is wrong. Why else might that be? Well, the reality also in many businesses is that they offer services or products about which their customers are simply not expert. It might be advanced technology. It might be a more sophisticated service offering. It might be anything that's complex in some way. The customers may not understand it fully. The customers, therefore, may not be able to make the most of it, may not be able to use it and get the best value from it. And in the end, what does that mean? The customers are going to complain. So the customer ends up complaining, but actually the customer's wrong. It may be your fault that they're wrong because you haven't done a good enough job of onboarding those customers, of educating them about how to get the best of your product and service, or about how you position them in the first place from the very beginning of the relationship. How you positioned your product and service with them. All of these are things in your control, but many businesses do them poorly or simply don't invest enough effort into them. As a consequence, customers don't understand, don't use the product or service as well as they could, don't get the most from it, and they complain. And yep, the customers are wrong, but it's your fault they're wrong. So you go and fix it. There is another way of looking at it though. In the end, your business has to be sustainable. To look after you, to look after your staff, to continue to serve customers, to serve the community in which you're an important member, to serve suppliers. Your business plays an important role. And for it to be sustainable, well, it can't do everything. And sometimes customers are wrong because they're the wrong customers. Sometimes you've gone and sold to someone who you shouldn't be selling to in the first place. There are some bad customers out there. Let's be honest. Have you met any bad customers? Have you met customers who haggle over price, who buy just the cheapest, who pay late, who send it back, who complain about it, who occupy 80% of your time with the hassle and grief that they come up with? You know, we've all heard the thing that 20% of customers deliver 80% of our profit. True in most businesses. Equally though, 80% of customers deliver 20%. They also, by the way, 20% of customers deliver 80% of your grief and hassle. So recognizing that some customers just aren't right for your business. In the end, we'll get to in subsequent sessions how to focus on the right ones, how to target the right ones, and just how good your business can look when you do that. But it starts from recognizing that some customers are not right for your business. Some customers are going to be painful and shouldn't be buying from you. The sooner you recognize that, the sooner you'll get focused on getting the right ones, and the sooner your business will flourish as a consequence. All the best.